Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called 500 More Bank Failures Coming Soon. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's show on all your social media to help spread the word. Now, let's get started. Everybody is very happy that the First National Bank was just rescued by JP Morgan Chase, but that is not the real story here. The real story is that we're hearing at least another 500 banks are getting ready to go belly up soon. Not 200 as reported in the mass media, at least 500 banks. The FDIC's reserves were severely depleted when they had to save the banks that have already gone belly up. Banks like Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate Bank, Signature Bank. Unfortunately, that is just the beginning. The FDIC's ability to help save more banks declines with each new bank that goes belly up. The problem is that there are a very limited number of larger banks out there and institutions who will be willing to help with each successive bank failure. The more toxic banks they try to absorb, the worse their balance sheets become. Then there's another problem. For some of the previous bank failures, the banks absorbed the good assets and the lucrative clients and bank holders, and the bad assets and bad accounts were just backstopped or taken over by the government. That means that there was very little risk taken on by all the junk that was now being protected and appropriated by the FDIC, the junk assets, that is. But the further we move down the asset ladder of junk banks and their junk assets and loans, the harder it will be for any of these institutions to get involved because the acquiring institution won't be benefiting nearly as much down the road. All they will see is junk banks and ultra high risk or unprofitable loans on their balance sheets. There will be very little silver lining or potential profit for these successive banks or financial institutions who are thinking about acquiring some of these junk banks. There's also another problem in the overall credit market. The more banks and lending institutions that fail, the more the remaining banks and institutions will reduce the available lines of credit for everybody else. When people start applying for credit cards or bank loans or mortgages, they'll see their interest rates go higher, or their available credit lines go lower, or they may just see their applications denied. But this is not where the problem ends. This is just where it begins. They're now discussing giving people with great credit higher interest rates and people with terrible credit lower interest rates, which is the exact opposite of what they've been doing in this country for more than half a century. That means that people who are less likely to repay their loans will get more available credit, and people who are more likely to repay their loans will get less credit or money. If you wanted to design a debt market or a credit market that was guaranteed to collapse over time, this is precisely how one would do it. Basically, the more money they loan, the more likely they are to never get that money back. And that's exactly how you guarantee a financial collapse. You just keep loaning money to people who can't repay it because they have terrible credit and no history of repaying their loans. There's only so much of that you can do before the loaning comes to an end and everything in the economy grinds to a halt. On to the next issue. As more and more banks fail, this will affect the rest of the country. The more difficult it is to get credit for purchases, the fewer things you can sell to consumers and industrial or commercial clients. The next issue is how many banks can collapse or fail before the entire economy seizes up and just freezes. The government can continue to provide financial aid to some banks, but there's only so much they can lend. The question is, how much help can the government or the FDIC provide until everything just grinds to a halt? That's an interesting question, and I believe the answer will become apparent once we get closer and closer to the zero credit point, the point at which there is nothing more to use to help the banks with. And then when we arrive at that point where neither the government nor the FDIC or financial institutions can help anybody, then what happens? We suspect that's when they will try to force people to convert to their new central bank digital currency, at which point they will implement a new set of banking rules and protocols on everybody. Will those banking rules help? Well, we'll have to reserve judgment on them until later when they're announced. Next issue. There are now approximately 4,900 insured banks in the United States. If 500 of them fail, would that take down the economy? Well, what about 1,000 bank failures? Is that enough to crash the economy? Well, this all depends on how the government and the FDIC and other institutions respond to all of this. This is a very dynamic equation that depends on a lot of moving variables. Variables like the interest rate, the GDP, the level of unemployment, and new job creation. How badly the residential and commercial real estate sectors are doing or collapsing. A lot of people now feel that if the commercial real estate market collapses half as badly as people believe it will, then the economy is toast. Next, there is the 800-pound gorilla in the room that dwarfs all these previous problems, and it's called war. If the problems in Ukraine turn into a world war, then one of two things will happen. It will spur massive growth in the economy and drive the creation of lots of jobs, or if they use strategic weapons, then that could bring the world to a quick end. Let's hope that never happens, but things are so strange out there that you just never know. Thank you for watching. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's episode of our show on all your social media to help spread the word. Thank you, and we shall talk to you soon. Bye-bye.